Hi, welcome to the Pinoy RN, a podcast that provides insight into a variety of subjects relevant to Pinoy nurses. Here's your host, Jerome Babate.
If I may say also that when I was elected, I cannot I cannot refuse anymore because this has been offered by. This was offered to me by Dr. Buat in years ago when we were still having our conferences, had our conference in the United States, and when she told me about, Rudy, you have to prepare because I need to leave now. But I was able to stretch it out, although most of the board wanted me because Nene is really retiring. So when she retired, so I was really prepared to look at, uh, assuming the position. And I was elected. Well, it was not a surprise, but more of really a mixture of emotions, excitement, and things that I still have to see because I cannot really feel in the cup of Dr. Buat. Dr. Buat is Dr. Buat. But I would do my best as president of NANSA. So in the medium term, I guess I am looking at how we can collaborate with the academic community. Why did I say that? Kasi something that we have been looking at, several years ago, we kept on complaining that nurses coming in our health facilities are ill prepared. So the tendency is we blame it to education. In the same manner, when it reaches the nursing education, ang response sa malala, it should be the practice who will be preparing them. We have done our part to educate our student nurses. It should be their responsibility in honing them. So if we keep on throwing dirty linens, between us, we'll not be able to resolve. So my medium focus would be how we can collaborate more. It's not only with ADPCN, but actively collaborating also with other nursing organizations. We have so many nursing organizations in the country. And if I can, we have around 20 plus organizations in the country already. So this opportunity of really enriching our programs and getting and sitting down and hope we can create standards that will elevate the practice of nursing in the Philippines. And we cannot do that if we'll not be able to reach that point when we will be working in silos. So I have to really actively work not only with ADPCN, with PNA, with Board of Nursing and the rest of the nursing organizations in the country. Because we've been practicing nursing, but we don't have any standards of practice customized in the Philippines. So that's something that we should look forward. A Philippinized standards of practice in the Philippines. Solely customized according to our culture, according to our set standards, according to how nurses should, or Pinoy nurses should be when they take care of Filipino patients. I'm also looking at not only standardization, because standardization is just a product of best available practices around. We cannot get the best available practices if we cannot go through the process of investigation. And then investigation starts from the basic CQI, process improvement, quality improvement projects. Then start looking at creating research projects. This is something that we are weak. I would like to cite the 2011 survey where in Singapore top, among Asian countries or ASEAN countries, Singapore top uh, in terms of the creation of published research studies. And we are number 4 in the ASEAN countries. We're even surpassed by Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia, I guess. And that's one thing that we should be looking forward, creating more research studies. But on top of research studies, we have to really look at also coming up with uh, evidence-based practices. Evidence-based practice has been successfully carried out not only in the United States but also in some of the ASEAN countries. So we have to move forward in order to uh, make our Filipino nurses aware of the value of investigation. Right now with Manila Doctors, we have started, like what I did with San Juan de Dios, we have started linking ourselves with Johns Hopkins through their EBP model. And we have invited a former manager or training officer in Johns Hopkins who happen to be working right now with Mercy Medical Center in Maryland. But she promised us that she will be connecting Manila Doctors with Hopkins. Hopefully, we'll be able to materialize everything this year. And hoping that we can stretch it out, not only in Manila Doctors, but with other hospitals nationwide. And I'm looking also at hopefully within the year or within the next 6 months, uh, preparing our virtual classroom for our nursing students. Right now, with the new normal, medyo we are a little bit challenged because uh, the question would still be, can they be equipped, in clinically when they will just be viewing the virtual classroom, the virtual simulator exercises and the like. So just this morning, I had a meeting with the deans of Manila Doctors where we explored on how we can possibly help without just concentrating on virtual classroom. So that's one thing that we still need to improve. But I was told that the ADPCN declared that there will be no related learning experiences this year. So they're looking, or they might be testing the waters next year. And also, I'm looking at leadership in the context of the era of pandemic, the artificial intelligence, young leadership. This time we have a lot of nursing leaders at top position, which I'm very happy because they are not looking at seniority anymore. They're looking at the young breed who are as equally capable as the older ones or even better than them. And I'm really looking at honing their business acumen because before we were just concentrating on clinical management and improving clinical outcomes, patient care, blah, blah, blah. But attaching our service-oriented orientation to the business perspective of the health facility. I think those things will be I may not be able to uh, carry out all those things that I have mentioned, but these are some of the things that pump up my mind, looking at how we can improve further the practice. Thank you, Jerome.
Yeah, but that's really good. At least you set a strategic vision for the organization. I'm really amazed with the ideas that you presented to me. Yung magandang yung ganung directions sa at least klarong-klaro ang yung magiging takbo ng organization. Not only the organization but the whole nursing service community in the Philippines. And I'm looking forward to that. And I would like to say congratulations for coming up with those strategic vision. What advice did ANSA President Emeritus, Dr. Linda Buhat, gave you as you take over her mantle? And what do you think you can improve upon her tenure?
Well, what advice? Well, one thing, she's a friend to me. She's a very close friend to me. She was very instrumental in my uh, progress as not as a clinical practitioner but a nursing leader. When it was just if I may be allowed to take a little time. It all started when I was a dean of San Juan de Dios, and she invited me over to try, and she was the one who recommended me to the nursing director's position. While working also in the hospital at the same time, I was a dean and I was working in the training department at the same time. But she told the sisters, no, Rudy has to be in the practice. So that was the time when she invited me over when I took the position as director of nursing in San Juan de Dios. She took the chance also of inviting me over to ANSA. That was the start. And from that time, she has been mentoring me. I do not really know why. She pushed me to lead the research committee. Sabi niya, you take the research. It's not moving, Rudy. Make time to concentrate on research. I was denying it, but how can you deny the president? So never. At the end of the day, I still accepted the challenge. When the research committee grew up, the ANSAP research committee grew up, that was the time that she started mentoring me. So I mean, advices in leading ANSAP would be more on what I got from her, information, not only information, but the wisdom I got from her, which prepared me. Maybe if she will give me advices, it would be more on just simply um, I should say, endorsing things that I have to do, the technical part of it. But in terms of leadership, I think I'm prepared already. I may not be the clone of Dr. Buat, but I have my own identity. I will create my own identity and see how we can figure out with my own style. But I owe it a lot to Nene Buat, and she really did a lot for me, and that's one thing that I would really treasure, no, uh, for the rest of my life. And that's it. That's it. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for that. Okay. Now we'll go straight to your current work as a VP of Manila Doctors Hospital Nursing Directorate. How do you transmit the values of your organization to the people you hire?
When you are transmitting values, it's something challenging. Being the one on top and trying to inculcate, or translate values among the people under you is really a tough job because of simply individuality. Of course, values being inculcated by the organization is different from the values you grew up in your community back home. With the people you've been through in your school and several other values. But then again, you try to look at it as something that should be done because without values, you will not be able to uh, see the light at the end of the tunnel in terms of your institutional direction. Setting values in an organization would help the organization meet its direction. So, looking at the direction or the vision of the institution would lie on how we can manage to imbibe the values, the corporate values of the institution, because this allows the smooth and seamless transition of the operation. Now, in honing the values to the new nurses, we have to understand where are they coming from. So these things can be done through your onboarding process. The onboarding allows our training team to look at their individualities, their own values, their own value practices, value proposition, and things that they usually believe in. Well, it's really hard that when, in as much as we want uh, them to be really diagnosed during the interview process. Are they attached to the values? Do they have the same values? I mean, we have to really jive what they have right now to the values. Can we jive their value practices to the value practices before admitting them? But if they are here already, the challenge would be how to inculcate the value. It's not an easy task. It's not just a simple cup of tea, but something that has to go to the process. You have to, in the event that you are presenting, presenting the values, like for us, we call our values as race. We term as R as respect, no? Accountability for A, innovation, service, service with compassion, and the E stands for excellence, integrity, and team. It's not as easy as just telling them the description. That's it. They got the values of the institution. No, you have to attach the values to their formation. When you say attach values to their formation, we are looking at value modification, value integration. Value modification means if there are conflicting values, try to modify it and attach it to the company's corporate values. When we say value integration, are there common values that we have so that they would understand really how they should be behaving? And another thing is attaching or making them realize their values when they start to practice their nursing or clinical practices. No? And they say it's not just cleaning the tracheostomy or doing tracheostomy care, NGT insertion, and blah blah blah. But they have to realize the relevance of it to their values. If we can just look at how they would clearly understand when they give medication, they have to always look at respecting the patient's rights. That when you are inculcating respect, you have to respect patient's right in giving and if the patient would refuse the medication. So those are the things. These are some of the things that values should be inculcated in work. Kasi if they don't know what they're doing, the reason why they're doing it, they won't care. So it becomes routinary. Pag routinary na, you don't care about really practicing the standards correctly, but you're just looking at your own comfort more than the patient. So that's something that we have to make our nurses realize. And I have mentioned behavioral modification in values infused in the clinical task. And one thing, it's not only giving it to them, sharing it to them, sharing your experiences, but also monitoring them. That's another challenge. You cannot inculcate the values right away after your onboarding. It has to go through. Minomodify mo yan eh. Hindi sila yon, but your company value. That's why performance monitoring is very important. Performance monitoring and value modification monitoring. So that would be part of the performance evaluation. And coaching is important also to redirect them again. Direct them again to the values of the institution. And your training module should also be aligned to the values of the organization. I think those are the things. But it's really very challenging. In as much as we want everyone to practice the institutional values, meron pa rin mga glitches, meron pa rin mga challenges. But you should not stop from honing them until they end their career with Manila Doc.
Thank you for that, Dr. Rudy. Yeah, I think in line with that question is, how will you measure your employee satisfaction? Is there some unique advantage at the Manila Doctors Hospital?
Yeah, that's something that can be attained with asking the employees' satisfaction to the organization. That is we oftentimes receive negative comments, no? And the organization should be ready for negative comments, whether it's something constructive or not, or maybe reactive or negative. The institution should look at it more than just condemning people. Kasi nandun yung culture, when you accept your limitations as leaders, you'll be able to look, no, beyond the needs of the employees. They may be irrational at some times because they kept, I term it as backseat drivers. Yung bang reklamo lang ng reklamo, very reactive, but they don't give suggestions. It's not really a proactive environment. You just have to accept it. That's the reality. Kasi may binanggalingan yan eh. Bakit sila reactive? Probably because they were not really prepared very well in terms of training. They were not really coached very well, and sometimes they were not listened very well. Listening is really a powerful weapon, Jerome. Powerful weapon that from listening without really prescribing them what to do gives them the element of independence. Kasi. So when you hold people, when you empower people, when you train people to assume leadership position, you have to give them a little independence. If you discover talents, do not prescribe what especially the young ones we are dealing with, yung sinasabi nilang millennials, Generation Z people. They want independence. They want their voices to be heard. So you listen to them more than just telling them that you know everything and they don't know anything. Yung parang ganon. Yung mentality ba na, ay, nanggaling na ako dyan, papunta ka pa lang, pabalik na ako. No, that should not be the mentality. No one has the monopoly of knowledge. You may know a lot of things, but these people can offer also something new. Then when you listen to them, it gives a little respect to their opinion. No, from there, makikita mo na yan eh. That's something that allows you to discover, ay ano ba saan ba sila nanggagaling? Madaling mag-survey. They would put everything there. Negative lahat. But there should be a follow-through. Follow-through means you have to do it in an interview. Could be random interview. But it should be part of your it should be part of my job as a nurse leader to really validate as well, not only through survey, to really validate their complaints, not only the negative ones, but also the positive things. And try to go around, kamusta ka? How is it doing? No? Medyo busy kayo. Kamusta? Even in the elevator, I took time. I'm taking time to say hi to them and kamusta ka na? Medyo toxic ka ba? Medyo sir. So that allows them to open up. No? And you take chance also of talking to them in their respective areas and until you get the message that validates.
Well, that's all for today's episode of Pinoy RN. Thanks for listening, and thank you to our guest for joining me today. Join us again next time when we talk about Filipino nurses and nursing. Make sure you subscribe to the Pinoy RN podcast on YouTube so you never miss an episode. Also follow us on Facebook at Pinoy RN Podcast. Special thanks to our event partners, Beta Nu Delta Nursing Society, Filipino Nursing Diaspora Network, Nursing for Humanity.